Look at this man's face as he goes to attack Dagon. This is the face of pure ignorance.
This is the face. This is the face number 2, bruh. If a nigga is smiling, he has no eye, he has no pupils, bruh. Why are you still there? Toji Fushiguro, the demon of JJK.
Toji Fushiguro is a menace like no other. Man's headshot at a young girl with zero remorse. Has no problem attacking the elderly and putting the paws on his own son. First time we meet Toji, but he's just being broke, as you do. But he was offered a job and did that shit spectacularly.
He really did.
Until Gojo got high on shrooms and turned him into an Apple logo. But dear viewers, that would not be the end of our boy Toji. So this old lady sorcerer is trying to bring him back. She got her little bodyguard protecting her, and man's over here looking like a mixture of the bombastic bagman and Mina Ashido from MHA is trying to stop that from happening. Honestly, I did not want to throw a triple K joke in the beginning and get demonetized. Anywho, he's not having much luck because the bodyguard is throwing some elite hands. This man over here mumbling like A-Train after talking to Homelander.
What did you say?
And she finally finishes, bringing the boy Toji back to life. Now, this whole plan was contingent on the bodyguard taking over Toji's body and using his pure strength and Chad energy to cook everybody else. Yeah, but you see, Toji, he had his own plan, and he took over the dude's mind. And not 2 seconds after coming back to life, he claps this old lady. Oh, and I also forgot, he bitch slapped the daylight out of the JJK sorcerer that was here to attack him.
Bro had no remorse for absolutely one-shotting an old-ass lady, dog. Like that lady could have been an innocent bystander, dog. And he just absolutely one-shotted her because she was just there. Like, I don't lie, that's crazy work, Toji, but that's crazy timing.
But then he pulled up to where the Dagon fight was happening. Now, let's look at this scene right here. Naobito has lost an arm, Nanami is banged up, Fushiguro is crashing out as usual, and Maki looked like she's taking the least damage. How did we get here? Well, I'll tell you. Dagon put up on Naobito, Nanami, and Maki, screeching about how they killed Jogo and Hanami after Naobito had used his 7 deadly frames technique and made him spill out all his coins. But he ends up transforming into the form we now know as Dagon. Unfortunately for him, Naobito called him a cursed spirit, so he's mad and starts yapping about having a name and how Jogo and Hanami had their own name. But Naobito, on the other hand, is also going off on a fucking yap session about animation frames. They both get mad because this has to be the biggest disconnection in the fucking world, bro. One of y'all is yapping about having a name and the other one's going on about frames. So Naobito calls him an uncultured swine and Dagon goes to attack. But Nanami beat him to the punch and took his attention away. By the time he was on the ground, Maki was on her way to attack. Ladies and gentlemen, here we have a classic case of a JJK jumping. Unfortunately for Maki, her attack was caught by Dagon. And then Naobito comes in for the save, pulling off a combo with Nanami, which Dagon managed to block the hit. Dagon, realizing he's about to be the victim of a JJK jumping, puts on a defensive barrier.
Why he walking like that?
About to end up like Mahito. The 3 of them proceeds to attack, and Dagon jumps in the air to escape, which Naobito was ahead of, and gives him that sweet chin music kick, ending it with a ground combo. After that one, Dagon realized who the real threat is. And Naobito,
I ain't gonna lie, bro. If my opponent crack his neck like this with his eyeballs all the way up to his skull, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I might gotta take a break from the fight, because that's a crazy pose to be doing mid-fight.
Stopping him from using his domain expansion. And so the boy Dagon squares up. Unfortunately for him,
that motherfucker's cheating!
And using his 7 deadly frames technique to get around him, appearing a whole lot faster. And bro, why does Dagon look like he just busted the fattest nut in this frame right here, bro? My boy, you know what kind of timing you on with them tentacles. Anywho, unfortunately for Dagon,
I might gotta slip something in them tentacles, you know what I'm saying? Hey, I was the only one thinking it, but don't lie in the comments, bro. I was not the only one thinking gotta slip something inside the tentacles, bro.
He's not an animator and doesn't know what 24 frames per second is, so he gets caught in the technique while trying to deploy his domain. Naobito goes for a final hit to try and stop the domain from opening, but he was too late. And Dagon reminds him that this is being animated by Mappa. Anywho, they immediately start taking damage from the domain expansion. Except for Naobito, because he knows how to defend against it. Nanami starts trying to tell Maki how to avoid taking damage, and in the middle of his directions, he gets got! Oh no, Nanami got got! Immediately followed by Naobito getting sucker punched and getting caught too!
How many bottles of baby oil do I need for you? What? And I'm talking Diddy style.
What did he say?
Nah, bro, spook.
And when Maki tried to help, she also gets got. Dagon channels his inner Cristiano and kicks the fuck out of Maki. Then he goes and starts yapping to Naobito how great 7 Deadly Sins Season 3 was. Had this man terrified of what he was hearing. Man's really cooked all 3 of them. Maki came back talking shit. Dagon's like, alright, you talking shit, but when I eat your ass...
Huh?
Ladies and gentlemen, intonation is everything when you're recording a video. Anywho, in the middle of threatening Maki, the king of crashing out himself, Megumi, pulls up in the domain. And since he's disrupting it, the surefire hit ability is neutralized. He also brought the playful cloud to Maki. Dagon goes to attack Megumi, but gets smacked in the back of the head by Maki, and then proceeds to take another hit that sends him flying. Since Maki just beat his ass, he decides to send some spirits after Megumi, but Nanami came in for the save. And unfortunately for Dagon, he realized that all three of them survived his attack.
Hey, bro, why Nanami like he on 1 HP, dog? We gotta run that back, bro. This dude like he been through it a whole time. He just got like hit 2 times, bro. Like, goddamn, me that strong, bro. That wouldn't happen to me, Nanami.
Fortunately for Dagon, he realized that all three of them survived his attack, but Naobito lost an arm in the process, and he was not happy. Nanami continues defending Megumi until he tells this man his real plan. He's gonna open a hole in the domain expansion so they can escape. And Nanami, knowing how much of a crash out Megumi is, he's like, you're not planning for the three of us to escape while you stay here, right?
You trying to use my
relax, I'm not that crazy. Right. Anywho, Nanami calls the other two so they can escape, and also at that moment, Dagon realized their actual plan. Unfortunately for everybody, when Megumi opened the hole, Toji's ass decided to jump in.
Like,
and we
where'd
get back
you
to the
come
scene.
from?
So Toji pulled up, made Maki look weak, and the guy that was giving everybody problems, he made him look like child's play. Smacks the shit out of him with the playful cloud. Like,
oh my
bro,
gosh.
I know this nigga got some CTE after that hit. And bro, this fight is the definition of spectacular. It really showed Toji's skills with just throwing hands. Mans was getting it in, throwing Dagon around like a toy. No matter what this man Dagon summoned, it did not work. Like, bro, look at this lunatic. I know that fish tasted nasty, but he just continues tossing Dagon around. So Dagon summons more monsters. But Toji ran through them niggas like butter. Smacks his ass, but he caught this man Toji. And Dagon tried to pull a Jonah and the Whale parody. Toji shut that shit down immediately. Bro had Dagon exhausted.
Hey, yo, what the fuck is going on?
At some point, Dagon,
Kill this nigga.
Toji is pulling horror movie moves. And look at this man's face as he goes to attack Dagon. This is the face of pure ignorance.
This is the face. This is the face number 2, bruh. If a nigga is smiling, he has no eyes, he has no pupils, bruh. Why are you still there, bro? Why aren't you trying to escape? Why are you still trying to fight this man, dog? He's smiling with no pupils and you still trying to box? You better than me, Dagon.
In malice, Dagon ended up blocking the hit, but Toji did not stop attacking, making this nigga bleed.
Bro,
like,
spamming
was
X.
just manhandling Dagon. Bro was even styling on him, like Toto. The amount of disrespect that this move alone has in it. And mans proceed to put feet-to-face contact while grinning. Like, smell my feet, nigga. Bro puts Dagon on his ass, and with pure brute strength, he turned the playful cloud into a shake. Like, my nigga, what prison are you from? This man Dagon was confused at the fact that he was losing right now. Had his ass breathing voluntarily. Like, bro, do you know how hard it is to stop thinking about breathing once you do? Anywho, bro, Toji had this man stressed. Dagon tried to escape, but this fight quickly turned into a jumping again. And Toji gets him in the head. Dagon tried to pull off one last move, but he forgot he was fighting Toji. And this nigga just goes ham on his head. Bro turned this nigga Dagon into fish paste.
Oh
if
my
you thought that was crazy, well, let me remind you that this nigga ran the fade with his own son. So he pulls up to Megumi, right? And mans immediately started stressing, bro. And we all know how much of a crash out Megumi is. Megumi summons the fleeing hairs and starts booking it, but Toji's on his ass. He runs into a warehouse and tried to throw hands with Toji. Megumi, bro, you saw how this man was manhandling Dagon. Why would you even try approaching this dude? Bro. Anywho, Megumi gets bitch slapped, and the bunnies tried to help. Toji catches one and uses it as a fucking nunchuck. And Megumi tried to come back for round 2. Gets headbutted and tossed like a bag of rice. And Toji pulls one of the cleanest moves I've ever seen, not gonna lie.
What the How do you even do that,
how do you even think of this? Anywho, after demolishing the rabbits, he goes after Megumi and starts ragdolling him. Bro was legit tossing entire trucks at this man. Like, who do you think you are? Shizuo? For those of you who got that reference, great. Megumi is running for his life right now. He leads Toji to a building and tried to fry his ass with electricity. But that barely managed to stop Toji, and he just kept coming. Toji goes for an attack, but Megumi, planning it out, caught his ass and tried to stab him. But Toji was too fast. Man stopped for a second and asked Megumi for his name. When he says Fushiguro, Toji, finally realizing that's his son, happily offs himself. An oddly happy ending for the menace known as Toji.